Well, hello, EKN Nation. Welcome to another edition of our EKN OutLap. It is episode number 40, June the 21st, 2022, and this is the preview for this coming weekend's California ROK Championship, which will happen up at Pat's Acres Racing Complex in Canby, Oregon, going to the Pacific Northwest with the California ROK Championship, a one-off event, which has, of course, a lot of rewards lined up for the ROK Vegas event in October. This edition of the EKN OutLap, episode 40, as I said, brought to you by DID Chain. Powered by technology, DID racing chains have a worldwide reputation for superior quality and reliability. A rich racing tradition where race results speak for themselves, DID prides itself on engineering the most technologically advanced chains on the market to help you excel on and off the track. DID's SDH pin treatment creates an extremely hard chromium carbide layer on the pin surface that houses a soft inner core to absorb extreme shock loads. DID's 219 HTZ racing chain boasts this SDH pin technology, which leads to a longer chain life, as well as excellent energy transmission to the wheels. Available in the gorgeous gold, the 219 HTZ is the ultimate racing kart chain. Pick up a DID chain at your local dealer today, because when winning is the only thing that matters, go with DID. David Cole, obviously the first time I've done that one.
Yeah.
A little run through that. So there was a lot of big words in there for me.
Yeah, edit 1, 2, 3, 4.
Awesome to have DID on board with us. And again, I've been using DID. My first ever chain that I had. I know that back in the 90s. So same.
We've used them in our family a long time too, as well. So again, and then also the RLV specials that they've also provided us at certain race events that right, for free that we've been able to use. But DID is again 219, 428, and 35 chain.
And 35, exactly that. So David Cole here, as I said, folks, my name's Rob Howden, the editor and publisher of ekartingnews.com. This is the preview. David, we're rolling back on the road. First time that you've ever been up to Pat's Acres, a place I've been since 1999, I think was my first trip there. An iconic racetrack in the Pacific Northwest, just outside of Portland. Again, the event is June the 24th, 25th, 26th. We're recording this on the Tuesday. You and I hit the air on Thursday. Looking forward to what's going to be a fun weekend with Andy Saisman and the whole FTK crew.
Yeah, looking forward to getting my first time at Pat's Acres. Not my first time to Portland. I've been there before, long time ago, but it will be a return to Portland in a very long time. But my first time at Pat's Acres, get to see the home of the Egger family, get to see where a lot of history's been produced in the sport of karting with the facility up there.
Yeah, 1995 IKF Grand Nationals, numerous races in the Superkarts USA Pro Moto Tour early in the run. They've had racing there for many, many years, drifting, of course, a great rental car program as well. Just one of the iconic racing facilities in the Pacific Northwest. And as David mentioned, run by the Egger family, a family that has been such a huge part of the sport on the management side over the last number of years. Of course, we've seen racers get out there, Cameron Egger, Dalton Egger, Brady Egger, all out racing. But we've seen so many of them, David, starting with, of course, father Chris Egger, race director for many series. And then you look at Dalton's been out there. Maddie, of course, working in timing and scoring and management and whatever it may be. This is a family that really is entrenched in the sport of karting.
It certainly is. And yeah, you're saying used to race. I was going to say Dalton still races.
He does, yeah.
Cameron's still racing, even with his wife. They're racing in the Northwest here and there. So I would expect to see maybe one or two of them racing this weekend. We'll see Brady probably behind the wrenches for one of the Rollison Performance Group drivers that'll be there this weekend. Maddie will obviously be doing something regards to either the racetrack and the series itself or the event itself. So, and then again, Chris will be roaming around and making sure everybody feels at home.
Yeah, looking forward to it. We've got actually we rented a trailer for this one, Dave, a little different than normal. We're rolling in with a rental RV and going to stay trackside, which I think is it's just going to make it such a cool atmosphere.
That's going to be the exciting part. I don't think we've ever stayed in an RV together. I think we've had one. I don't think we've actually. No, wait.
I think you
take that back.
Maybe Newcastle one year when I had the rig down there.
No,
there.
We have to go all the way back to Sebring 12 Hour in 2004.
Yeah, with 4 or 5 of us in that Class C.
It was 4. It was 4 of us. Yeah.
Oh man, that's nuts.
That was shower conservation at its best, right there.
Oh, we had to refill that thing with water every night. That was hilarious. Yeah, that was the start of Formula Car Magazine back in the day. One of the other publications that we produced. Yeah, and so indeed, we're going to be staying trackside. I know Andy Saisman's staying trackside with his crew. There's a bunch of people that are staying trackside, kind of building on this. What could be, what the focus is on making this an annual event. Come up to the track. Stay at the racetrack, have some fun. Let's go back and have a lot of fun here. This is again, we'll talk about what's up for grabs here, David. Let's talk about the track itself first. 0.7 of a mile, 12 corners, depending on which egger you're talking to. And I've always laughed. You'll see when we get there. The opening corner is a big kind of sweeping left-hander, and there's really kind of almost like 2 apexes. And then you kind of come back to the right, and then before a little short shoot into a right-hander. Well, Chris Egger calls that entire left, right, turn 1. So he and I've had this battle for 20 years where we've laughed our ass off about it, that turn 1's got like 3 different corners, but 12 turns in total. Essentially, they added a bit to it a number of years ago. It was a lot shorter of a racetrack. It's 0.7 of a mile, built back in 1965 by the Hagar family, another legendary name in karting. The Eggers of Dave have owned it since 1998, but this is an old school racetrack, man. This is going to be a lot of fun because it's not super, super wide. It's one of those iconic American karting tracks that have been around for, like what we said, 60 years, right? Almost 60 years.
Yeah, it was built in the 60s, so there was nothing to design or work off for karting tracks. And I think, we always joke about, Badger Kart Club, Michiana Raceway Park, and Goodwood. Those racetracks came out of a design from a book in the 60s, I want to say. And it was, your standard, there's your 90s, there's 180s, where this is like every single turn is a different radius. It has a different, there's not one corner that's the same. There's not even a straightaway that really looks like a straightaway, because essentially you're turning the wheel nearly every single inch of the racetrack. There's a little bit of a straight here and there, but not to the extent that we see with the standardized racetracks that we are having, like say Miller Motorsports or Utah Motorsports Campus, or a Newcastle, or even GoPro, where we have the long front and a long back straightaway there. So yeah, this is again just something that was probably sketched out, or something that was done with a bulldozer, and is like, all right, this looks good, go working around different trees. That's the one thing I'd like to know, is how old some of these trees that are around and within the racetrack itself.
David, wait till you get there. You're going to see that this track probably, when again, they said the Hagar family built it back in 65, probably with a case of beer and a bulldozer, or probably a tractor, right? And
tractor, yeah.
It was it's right alongside a river. And you can see it's kind of probably carved out of where the trees were, what they were able to pull down. It's a fantastic atmosphere. I'm so excited to be going back to Pat's Acres. It's been a handful of years since I've been there. Again, as we said earlier, it has hosted a lot of regional events over the years, a ton of nationals, the ICAF Grands of 95. Scusa went up there with Jim Murley. It was an absolutely fantastic place to be, and I'm looking forward to being there. Weather-wise for this weekend could be interesting, Dave. It's going to be high 80s, low 90s all weekend long. So it's going to be a warm one for the drivers, because it is a physical racetrack.
Well, the good thing with the trees is there'll be shade, so that's going to be a positive. They have tent over the grid area, so there's going to be shade there. But yeah, typically when you go to the Pacific Northwest, what do you think of? The 4 letters that you don't want to say.
Yeah, right.
And so yeah, to see the percentage of that happening with in the single digits is a great positive. Yeah. It means none of the competitors or teams or mechanics have to worry about the old back to forth going from the treaded tires to dry tires and all that stuff. So, but the temperature, yeah, it's going to be a little bit warmer. I'm not sure how humidity is up in that area of the country.
Indeed.
So that could be an issue for, some of the people who are used to the dry heat.
Yeah, you're right. David, a bunch of stuff up for grabs. This is essentially the entire California ROK Championship schedule focused down onto one event. There was initially going to be a race at Cal Speed and a finale at Sonoma, but with just so much racing going on the West Coast, all these different series, Andy Saisman, the promoter, saying, you know what, let's just get this one event. Everybody's talked about coming to Pat's Acres. It's a second trip up to the facility. The reason why they came in the first place was Andy put out a survey to all his racers at the end of the 2020 season, said, hey, where do you want to go that we haven't gone to yet for this program? Everybody said, hey, let's go up to Pat's. And there was this big group of people that said, I want to go up to Pat's Acres. We probably could have had better numbers. There's another couple of races. There was just a race in the Pacific Northwest. There's another event going on down, I think, in California this weekend. ROK Sonoma coming off an event. So again, so much racing has probably limited the amount of people that are making the trek up. I know Jim Kidd and Cassie Kidd are coming up as well, which is awesome. So there are some people coming from California. Speed Sense Motorsports is coming up. GFC Karting's coming up. But the bottom line is, David, there's a lot up for grabs being one race, right? It's all about kind of earning your way into the ROK Vegas event.
Yeah, it's a great chance to be able to take part in the November event that's going to happen in Las Vegas. So, and to, again, race at a racetrack like this and be able to earn, a ticket, or at least, part of your entry or even tires, to compete in that event. And again, like you said, it's just, they're trying to build on something here. And unfortunately, 2021 was a little bit of a different year because everybody was kind of regrouping after COVID. Now that everybody's kind of regrouped, it was like, there's just so many races that are going on in this calendar year. And unfortunately, some events are suffering because of that. And unfortunately, people are picking and choosing where they're going. And there's just so much racing going on that, hopefully, again, this is going to be kind of the, a buildup of, a typical or an annual event that can happen at Pat's Acres.
Indeed. So winning this event, ROK Vegas ticket, including entry, tires, and fuel. Second place, ROK Vegas entry, and third place, ROK Vegas tires. So tires, entries, and of course the full package for race winners as we get up to Pat's Acres for the California ROK Championship. Again, David, event schedule, really a TBD right now because, in terms of how many drivers there are in all the categories, you never know. Andy may bring a couple of the classes together like micro and mini. There's 8 in total for each category. So the possibility that schedule, I think, is something that's going to probably come together on Thursday or Friday. And
again, it's a one final format. That's something that's changed, obviously, with, the Cal Speed being canceled and Sonoma being canceled as well. This is kind of a winner take all type event. So that, the prizes are going to be for one main event. And that, that was the talk. We're still waiting to, obviously for Andy to come out with a schedule, and then we'll know even more. So you got to expect to see, a full day of practice on Friday, like you would expect at a challenge event. Excuse me. And then from there, probably a qualifying session and then probably a bunch of heats, but it could be, maybe he'll throw a wrench at everything and make the heats, a little different than what we're used to, maybe. True. Are we going to have almost like an Australian Pursuit type style races, or why not do maybe some pea picking? That might be a different, unique style of doing it. So again, who knows with Andy? Andy's probably he just moved up to Idaho. He was out mowing the lawn the other day, so he probably had a lot of time to do some thinking with the driving and the mowing.
That's true.
So he's probably been coming up with some unique and interesting ideas, and probably. Now that he's trackside ready to go at Pat's Acres, kind of, pinpointing what was a good idea, what's not. So we'll see. Right. We'll see what comes out of that head of Andy's.
And just so stay tuned to all our social media, eKarting News. Of course, we're going there. It's going to EKN Trackside live event. I'll be on the mic all weekend long. David's going to provide coverage. If anybody has an extra go-kart they want somebody to drive in 100cc Masters, David is available. I think he's bringing his stuff with him. Just I'll throw that out there for you, David, just in case.
I could do shifter too, but I don't know if I do it really well.
Whoa. How many laps, David? You haven't even seen this racetrack, David. If you tried to drive a shifter around here, I don't know that you'd last 10 laps.
If there's multiple heats, at least, they'll keep the lap count. Yeah. If they keep the lap counts to like 8 or 6, that'd be great.
That's funny. All right, folks, don't go anywhere. Our first break here. When we get back, we'll have a look at the numbers. We'll let you know where they are. Obviously, the big class right now we're looking at is senior 100cc. We'll run you through the categories and the numbers we have as pre-entries for this weekend's California ROK Championship. CRG is one of the most iconic brands in karting, and we're primed and ready for the 2022 season with new material and a never-ending focus on winning. CRG Nordam is the North American distributor for all CRG products. Based outside of Houston, Texas, CRG Nordam supports CRG dealers across the continent, reaching every corner of North America. The CRG KT5 is our new chassis for tag and shifter racing, and it's been designed specifically for the U.S. market. The KT5 features 30mm construction with a 32mm front loop to increase front grip. CRG's new Ben 13 brake system is cutting-edge technology with a master cylinder that allows for pressure regulation within the system. Drivers can customize brake pressure to their own requirements to improve feel and to avoid brake lockup. The kart is finished with new KG 507, 508 bodywork that has refined aerodynamics and reduced weight. For cadet drivers, the 2022 CRG Black Mirror is already logging positive results to start the new season. This chassis will be making big waves in 2022. Longtime CRG drivers will be happy to know that the CRG Road Rebel, the standard in quality and performance, is still available. With four-cycle racing enjoying consistent growth in North America, CRG's FS4 chassis is the ideal choice for racers in Briggs & Stratton competition. From pure racing to karting entertainment, many tracks, both indoor and outdoor, have made the switch to the CRG Centurion rental kart line. 5 different models for both gas-powered or electric engines can fit any track's needs for a new rental kart fleet. CRG Nordam has a full inventory of rental karts available for new and existing facilities. For more information on the CRG product line, head to www.kartcrg.com, and to inquire about a North American dealer near you, please email us at info@kartcrg-nordam.com. Acceleration Kart Racing is your first and only stop on the internet for karts, parts, and the safety gear you need to get you on the track. Visit shopakr.com for a great selection of karting equipment on a user-friendly website. Acceleration Kart Racing has aligned itself with many of the top manufacturers and distributors in the sport to ensure all the latest equipment is available to you, the racer. With over 20 years in business and customer support available 6 days a week, you can be confident about getting the right parts at the right price when you need them. Be sure to visit shopakr.com today or stop by their headquarters in Las Vegas. Make sure to follow Acceleration Kart Racing on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest specials and new arrivals. Welcome back to episode number 40 of our OutLap podcast, a preview of this coming weekend's California ROK Championship, the appropriately named event up in Portland, Oregon. So California to Portland for this one-off event. Again, Rob Howden here alongside David Cole. David, anytime we see any of these races where so many events are packed in, pre-entries are often low, and then we get a bunch of people coming on the track, right? So 55 pre-entries in total, as I mentioned. 17 drivers in the senior 100cc class. That's probably going to be the best one to watch throughout the weekend. Micro ROK and Mini ROK, both with 4 entries, a couple extra, walk-ups, and you end up matching what they had last year at 5 and 6. So you got to expect maybe Micro ROK, Mini ROK going to run together on the racetrack, but I think 100cc senior is going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, 100cc senior will be, the exciting class with obviously the largest that we've already said, and some solid drivers that are going to be in the category. And again, that's kind of the grassroots regional category that we've seen that as boosting larger numbers at the national level.
Agreed.
We're seeing that category be the highest at pretty much every national program we've gone to, from coast to coast. Even the challenge events that we had in January, February, and March, 100cc senior was the category to be in.
When we look at the 100cc Masters and junior 100cc altogether, the Masters class actually over double last year. They only had a couple drivers last year, 5 in total as pre-entries for Masters 100cc. We'll see if David Cole jumps in to be number 6, or maybe Mike Rawlison. You ever know Mike Rawlison might jump in too? That would be a beatdown though.
I think that would be an extreme beatdown, considering he just was at the Superkarts USA Spring Nationals and was the quickest out of the two Masters drivers there.
And it's his home track.
And it's his home racetrack. So maybe that's one of those where you give him like a 5-second penalty at the start of every race.
I like that.
Again, that's the one thing about this event. There's no championship on the line, right? Sure. It's a one-off event. Anything can happen. And we know Andy loves to have fun. He loves to do things out of the box, a little bit different. He's kind of like the new Bill Wright in a sense. I think when he wore Bill Wright's hat one time, I think it kind of passed the torch of the craziness of Bill Wright to Andy Seisman. So you never know what could, again. And then, but you mentioned it earlier. There was an event in Medford, Oregon last weekend. Yep. So there could be a number of walk-ups. It was a lot of maybe competitors who are waiting to see what happened that weekend, with a championship going on. I think that was like the midway point of the championship there. Okay, I now have time to be part of this event as well, too. True enough. There could be a number of walk-ups, especially in this category, even the junior 100cc. I wouldn't expect it so much in maybe the shifter categories. I think those guys are pretty much set, but there could be some there too. And we talked to some of the Masters guys in the Northwest area that they're doing that Northwest program, so it could be a walk up there. Again, you just don't know because of so much racing going on in the region and in the country.
13 shifters in total, 9 in the pre-entries, of course, in the ROK shifter class, 4 in the ROK shifter Masters category. So I expect potentially a couple of walk-ups there. Again, that's what we're talking about. The numbers last year were 70 drivers in total, 55 drivers pre-entered coming into the event. Hopefully we'll see a number of walk-ups come to enjoy what should be a pretty fun weekend up at Pat's Acres. Don't go anywhere, folks. When we get back, we'll jump right into it. We'll have a look at the drivers who are entered and getting set to go at this event up in Portland. Stay with us. More to come. It all started in 1994 when former successful kart driver Albino Parolin decided to move his passion for karting from the track to his small workshop. That's when Parolin was born. Fast forward 20 years, and Parolin's passion for the sport led to the company rejoining international competitions as a factory team in WSK and CIK FIA races, with the aim of enhancing the research and development process, immediately achieving notable results around Europe, North America, and Asia, becoming the CIK FIA Asia Pacific KZ champion in the same year. Parolin USA is North America's source for Parolin products, and we run a factory team at all of the major Superkarts USA and ROK Cup USA events. The Parolin chassis lineup for 2021 includes the Invader Shifter, the Le Mans Tag single-speed chassis for junior and senior classes, and the 28mm mini kart for the cadet classes. Parolin has been winning races all over the world, and it's on top of the podium in the USA as well, with drivers like Kai Sorensen, Mateus Orjuela, and Alessandro De Tullio. Get on the chassis that's winning. Drive a Parolin. For more information, head to ParolinUSA.com. History, success, family. Those are the three words that can describe Comet Kart Sales, one of the longest tenured karting businesses in the United States. The family-owned operation located just outside of Indianapolis has provided karts, parts, and services for thousands of racers in the near 6 decades of business. Their online store features everything you need, continually adding new parts to their product line. From full karting packages, new engines, spare or replacement parts, and safety gear, find it all at CometKartSales.com. Their Comet Racing Engine service has won multiple major events and championships over decades of karting and continues to offer the best trackside service in the industry, specializing in IAME X30, IAME Swift, and other 2-cycle power plants. Make sure to head to CometKartSales.com or call them at 317-462-3413 to be part of the Comet Kart Sales family today. back for episode 40 of our EKN OutLap as we preview this weekend's California ROK Championship, a one-off event awarding prizes and tickets and you name it to the ROK Vegas event in November down in Las Vegas, the annual season ender for ROK racers in North America. David, let's jump into it. We're going to look at ROK Shifter Masters, Senior ROK, Junior ROK, and Masters ROK. But let's kick things off with the ROK Shifter class. 9 entries in total, and it may be 9, but there are some heavy hitters in the ROK Shifter class.
There are. I mean, you look at the EKN driver rankings for shifter kart, and it includes, top 15, maybe even top 20. There's probably 4 or 5 of those drivers, including, former Pro Tour champion and current and defending. Wrong driver. I was thinking of, but a winner this year and a former champion in Kyle Wick.
Yep.
The Track Magic GFC driver. He's coming off a big victory at the Superkarts USA Pro Tour, the first for Track Magic at that level. And again, he's already won twice at the challenge that we saw in Tucson to begin the season in January. And again, so yeah, he's definitely got to be one of the drivers to beat. But I think when you throw in, local knowledge, I think the hat kind of tips over to Joey Wimsett. Yeah,
I get it. Joey, of course, a former Super Nationals winner, former SCUSA Pro Tour champion in the S1 category. Joey probably could run in the Masters class because he's been around for a number of years, but this is a guy that knows this racetrack probably better than anybody trackside, maybe other than Mike Rawlson, right? This guy knows this track extremely well and is unbelievably quick. He's a pro driver, and it's a facility where he's going to be the guy to beat, I think, out of the gate. But then you look at other local guys that are going to be there. Jacob Gulick and a Kyle Dupel. Good to see Kyle back. Of course, did a bunch of racing in the Road to Indy and USF 2000 at one point. But Kyle, another Oregon driver, I believe. He and Jacob Gulick. And Jacob's a guy that I think, David, we've talked about a lot. Jacob's really kind of dialing things in over this last year and a half.
He has. He was right there throughout the challenge program. He got his first victory there in Phoenix. And again, is making strides with each weekend that he's on that shifter machine, because again, it's not something that he's got a lot of experience. When you talk about Joey Wimsett, I mean, this guy, not kid anymore.
No,
I mean, he's got over, 15 years of shifter kart racing under his belt probably. So, again, Gulick's only in, I think, his second year now, maybe third in doing the 6-speed stuff. So again, Kyle Wick, He's been shifter kart racing for at least 5 to 6, maybe even 7 years. So again, Gulick's kind of catching up to pace with Wick, and even Connor Wick, Kyle's brother, showed really well a couple weeks ago in Utah. So he's getting that pace. And again, Pat's Acres, another racetrack that he knows really well. So again, there's a lot of names with a lot of experience in this category. The one that'll be interesting to watch will be Micah Hendricks. He loves shifter kart racing and loves going to challenges and trying to get better himself. And he goes to Cal Speed a lot. He's been to Sonoma trying to race against the Hunter Pickett's and the NorCal guy, the Ronnie Whites that are there as well. So now he's coming up to Pat's Acres and he's going to try and measure himself up against those local studs and superstars that are in shifter kart ranks.
And always a family deal, right? It's Mike and his dad. Usually Grandpa's there as well. Oftentimes 3 generations there racing, which is cool. He'll be on the Croc Promotions machine. A couple other drivers on Croc Promotion karts for V&R Racing, Bryce Doney and Thomas Riddle. And then to cap off the field that we have so far pre-entered is one of the quickest young ladies in karting right now, Charlotte Chung on the GFC Track Magic. She had a pretty good challenge of the Americas start of the year. They call her Shifter Charlotte. I think, again, one of the fastest young girls we've got in the sport right now.
Yeah, one of the few that we have in the shifter kart ranks, that's for sure. We have a lot of young drivers in the cadets and junior ranks, but to be in the shifter kart ranks, that's a rare commodity. We've seen who's the driver from SoCal? Man, I can't think. Taylor. Oh man, this is gonna kill me. I can't think of her name now, but she's a SoCal Tony kart driver. I can't think of her name.
Oh, top of my head, yeah, I know.
Anyway,
I got you.
She's been one of those loans that have moved over. But Charlotte's one of the newer names to the shifter kart ranks, and her along with Hannah Greenmeyer, racing shifters against, is a pretty. I'm trying to look up the name. I can't find it Damn it.
I'm working
anyway,
on it too, bro.
but yeah, Charlotte had competed at the challenge all season long. Got a 3 months of experience racing against some of the top drivers in the country, and so we'll see how she does going up to Pat's Acres and trying that facility for the first time.
You're thinking about Carly Taylor.
Carly Taylor, that's who it is. Yeah.
Got you. Yeah.
Good
100%.
job.
Well, we see Macy Williams jumped into it this year a little bit. Hannah Greenmeyer, as you said. We've seen a number of young ladies jump into the program, which is fun to watch. I love seeing more girls running shifters. I think that's fantastic. And again, it's easy for me to pick up on the racetrack because there's nothing easier to pick up on track than the yellow and black of Track Magic. I'm just telling you that as an announcer. It's so easy.
Very, very easy. Yeah, her and Kyle Wick will be flying the Track Magic colors on the weekend.
All right, let's go to Masters Shifter, Rock Shifter Masters class. And we got a couple of Aluminos drivers. Jimmy the Kid coming back up. He's going to make the trek up with Cassie. I saw them on the way up right now. I love that. We've got Randy Murphy for Word Racing. Rusty Lingle, another one of the Croc drivers as well. Stefan Goudreau is there as well, and an Alumino. So 4 drivers all total, David, here in Masters Shifter.
Yeah, that's I thought we were going to see a couple more, and again, we could be some walk-ups. The shifter kart ranks in Pacific Northwest is pretty strong, but again, we had that regional race that was going on this past weekend, so hopefully we'll get some more walk-ups for that category. But I thought we'd see a couple more of the California drivers coming up this way, but again, a lot of racing going on, and unfortunately, again, this is an event that we can build on, and again, once the calendars start getting more set and loyal, I think loyalty is the word for a date. Get those annual events going on. I think this will be one that can be locked in.
Yeah, it's all about the date equity, right? People having a good, people want to come out, they have a good time. I'm going back to that race. I'm bringing a friend. That's what it's all about. And you and I. I don't think you and I have ever gone to one of Andy's races, a Challenge of the Americas event, where we haven't really enjoyed ourselves. It's a place we always go and have a good time. The people there are great. The culture, the attitude, the atmosphere is always fun. So again, 100% looking forward to this weekend. And again, like you said, David, you start getting that date equity, second year of the program. The third year is going to be bigger. We're camping out again. We're going to have fun. It's good.
Yeah, equity. That's the word I was looking for.
Go.
Good.
So let's look quickly at the ROK Junior, the Senior ROK, and the Masters ROK classes. If you've listened to any of our Outlap or Debrief podcasts from the West Coast events, the Challenge of the Americas, this is just the 125cc Senior, Junior, Masters liquid cooled categories are just not getting as supported as they have in the past. 100cc is picked up on the East Coast. It's different. Lots of people running the ROK Senior or the X30, whatever it may be. But David, on the West Coast, it's just not as much. We have 2 drivers in Junior ROK, 2 in Senior ROK, and a lone driver running in Masters ROK.
Yeah, the Master ROK, Chad Wallace, a good friend of ours that we used to see at the Challenge a lot. We haven't seen him in a couple of years, so it'll be good to see Chad once again. But yeah, the Senior ROK could be a category that we see a couple more walk-ups. We'll have to wait and see. Kieran Rogers, I believe, we used to see at the Challenge as well too. Not too familiar on the junior drivers, the Javier Herrero from Mexico. So he's coming up to race from Mexico. So that's a good thing with Rollison Performance Group. And Grayson Schobert, again, not familiar with that name as well either. So again, we'll meet some new drivers that we've never met before.
That's it. That's what this is all about, having a good time at the racetrack and getting out there with some new drivers that we haven't seen. Again, full EKN Trackside live coverage all weekend long. Lots going on, David. We're planning a potential tent talk. You never know. We might do some of the nightly debriefs. We are staying trackside, so we may just do it right from the racetrack. We'll see. Your coverage, of course, all weekend long. Live coverage of my play-by-play will stream on EKN Radio Network as well. And, of course, like I said, a lot more stuff to come throughout the weekend. Let's go for another quick break. And when we come back, we'll have a look at that big class, Senior 100cc, and we'll tell you what drivers have pre-entered to hit the track at Pat's Acres. The new face of competitive karting in the Pacific Northwest region is RaceLab. The full-service karting operation is located at the state-of-the-art Kartplex facility in Oliver, British Columbia, Canada, providing everything you need to hit the track or put yourself in a successful driver development program. RaceLab is the official North American distributor for the TB Kart chassis brand, providing the full range of models from kid kart to shifter kart. Villeneuve Racing Karts is their flagship product, available only through RaceLab. The brand carries the name of Formula One champion and Indianapolis 500 winner Jacques Villeneuve, with each model produced by TV Kart. Kartplex, the home of RaceLab, is situated on the grounds of the Area 27 Motorsports Park. From full arrive and drive TV kart rentals to leagues and competition karting, the facility provides a new home to developing the future stars of motorsports, all beginning at Kartplex with RaceLab. Follow RaceLab on social media on Facebook and Instagram, or load up their website at www.theracelab.ca to learn more about TV Kart and Villeneuve Racing Karts. RaceLab. Race with us, win with us. Motor mounts are critical to producing 100% of the power your engine has to get you on the podium each and every time. Odenthal Racing Products provide the best motor mounts in the karting market today. Odenthal Racing Products is a family-owned and operated business with decades of karting experience, providing products with unmatched quality and value for the karting market. Our newest product is the Pro Series mount for two-cycle engines, available in 0, 5, and 8 degree angles, providing a rigid structure to help keep vibration to a medium with fins underneath to help dissipate heat off the engine. Our 4-cycle EZ set is one of the most popular mounts for the Briggs & Stratton 206 power plant. Multiple mounting holes provide the most adjustability, depending on your chassis and seat placement. To ensure a tight fit to your chassis, ORP wedge clamps get the job done, featuring a number of updates to its design for a lower profile and lighter weight. The clamps are available from 28mm to 32mm in both standard and Euro sizes. Head to OdenthalRacing.com and find a dealer near you. Odenthal Racing Products, made in the USA. Welcome back to this edition of the EKN OutLap, our preview of this coming weekend's California ROK Championship, the event up at Pat's Acres. Looking forward to that. The event, the June 24th, 25th, 26th. If you have the open weekend, you're in the Pacific Northwest, and you want to come and have some fun, do it. Come out to this event, be part of the action. We're going to be there with EKN. Looking forward to it. David, in this segment here, we'll do the preview of the Senior 100cc, Junior 100cc, and the Masters 100cc category. All told, 29 drivers in these three categories, leading things off, those 17 in Senior 100cc.
Yeah, this will be a fun category to watch. Again, 100cc racing has been some of the closest and tightest racing that we've seen in recent years. And again, you throw a facility like Pat's Acres at these guys, there's not a lot of room for error. And again, you're turning the wheel all the time, so you got to be on point and on your game in order to be quick this weekend. So again, a lot of the names we aren't familiar with, so it's going to be good to familiarize ourselves with some of the Pacific Northwest racers. A couple of names that we are familiar with. One includes Caleb Schrader, a 2021 SCUSA Pro Tour race winner. And again, was a podium finisher this last couple weeks ago, or a couple of days ago with the Spring Nationals in Utah. Was able to stand on the podium there again. So he's got to be among the favorites. And again, a local knowledge, has a lot of laps there at Pat's Acres. So he could be the unofficial favorite heading into the weekend.
Yeah, I find it really interesting, right? A quick look over at 100cc Senior and kind of some of the names that we had running the Challenge of the Americas. And you think, hey, these guys run Andy's races. We're going to see a lot of them up there. And as you said, David, there's a lot of drivers here that we really haven't seen much before. And I think not only for FTK Promotions, Andy Saisman and his crew, and the California ROK Championship, and of course everything that happens every season at the Challenge of the Americas Winter Series. This is an opportunity for you and I to go watch a bunch of drivers that we've never seen race before. A lot of these names I haven't had a chance to say. So as an announcer, that's one of the things I'm so excited about when Andy said, hey, I want you guys to come out with a Trackside Live program. This is going to give you and I an opportunity to meet a bunch of new people we've never seen before at the racetrack.
Yeah, that's going to be the key aspect to this weekend. Again, and introducing them to the karting community. A lot of people across the country will be, following the coverage, listening in, and be able to, kind of get their names out there, and kind of, a couple names that I did see a couple weeks ago. One of them was Jack Doyle. He's racing with Rollison Performance Group as well with Schrader. So he had a pretty good weekend at the Spring Nationals. So I've seen him. And then Zach Meyer is another driver who's kind of done a couple national races here and there as well, too. So those are some familiar names. We already talked about Kieran Rogers as well. So those are kind of the only familiar names that I see on the list. But the rest, we'll be getting introduced to them throughout the weekend in this category.
The only other one I have as well would be Aaron Farhadi. He finished 7th in the Challenge of the Americas this past year, 8th rather this year in the 100cc senior category. So Aaron will be out there as well, running with Alex Keys Racing. So hopefully Alex will bring up some more drivers. Again, there's a bunch of names of guys we don't know. They're running with RPG, running with Gary Carlton, running with teams like CMC, the Holmbo family. So it's going to be fun to see these drivers that maybe we don't know or get a chance to see. Same goes, David, with the 100cc junior class. There are a couple of big names that we've seen run up front that should be pretty interesting to watch. First and foremost would be Caleb Gaffera. He's going from the FIA Karting Academy Championship event, the trophy event over in Europe, flying straight here, coming straight over, I believe, to run with Rollison Performance Group. So Caleb really crossing some time zones to come in here and run this event.
Yeah, it's a lot of time zones. It certainly is. I finished 10th at the race in Italy this past weekend on Sunday. Flat left tire, I think. Left front tire was the tire. Right? Yeah, I think the left front tire bead lock was leaking some air, so it was a little bit flat by the time he finished the race. But all in all, it was a good weekend for him. Stayed out of trouble, stayed clean, had no penalties. Top 5 performances in the heat races. So that was good. But yeah, making the track and heading to, the Rollison Performance Group home track and going to do some laps there in the junior 100cc category. A couple other names we're familiar with: Steven Eisert, another Challenge of the Americas winner; Christian Cameron, another Challenge of the Americas winner. So those two drivers going to be going up against Gaffera, and
first and second in the points at the challenge.
That's correct. Yeah, I forgot
Cameron
about
that. Yeah. Cameron and Eisert were first and second in the points, and you throw in Alex Rentala, he was 8th in points. So there's some heavy hitters in the 100cc junior class.
Yeah, I forgot about Cameron getting that victory this year. So we haven't seen him. I haven't seen him since maybe USPKS, or he might have been at the Spring National or the Winter Nationals with you. So it's been a while since we've seen him. Eisert was there at the Spring Nationals last weekend. And then, as you said, Rentala carrying the GFC banner in that category. We actually have 7 different chassis of the 7 different, almost 7 different chassis and 7 different drivers that we have with Cosmic, Talcourse, Tony Kart, Aluminos, Tony Kart, and GFC.
Yeah, I added Flavio Aquini, Mauricio Parada, and Peyton Fayan part of the action. So there are, as we said, 7 drivers pre-entered. Love to see it get up to 10 or more. Because if you're a local driver, somebody in the Pacific Northwest, this is a really solid opportunity, David, to challenge yourself. Right? We're talking about 3 or 4 of the top young junior drivers in the country. Gaffera obviously right up there, Eisert and Cameron, as we said, up top at the Challenge of the Americas. This is some big talent coming in to run at Pat's Acres this weekend.
Yeah, it will be. It's great opportunity. Again, when you have an event like this in your area, it's wise to go to that event.
Let's move to the Masters 100cc class. And I know there's one driver who is absolutely just jonesing, geeking out over this weekend, right? Getting a chance to come up here and run essentially a kind of his home track.
Yeah, Mike Smith, I actually was messaging him last night, kind of talking about the event. He's like, okay, what's the good night to be trackside? I told him, well, pretty much every night since me and you are camping there.
That's it.
But yeah, he was a little disappointed. I think he wanted to do the double duty. He was really geeked about having a Briggs 206 category on the weekend. Fortunately, that didn't come to fruition. But I think Smith coming back to a home race track and being able to race in a category that he does really well in, 100cc Masters, I think he'll be a good measuring stick for the rest of the field.
Yeah, look at another driver to battle it out with too, Scott Fermanic. He's going to be strong. He was good at the Super Nationals this past year. 5 in total, though, in the 100cc Masters class. Smith will be the guy they're chasing, although there is a couple of maybe more local guys to see if they can step things up to battle it out with Smith.
Yeah, again, introducing ourselves to drivers we haven't seen before or haven't even mentioned possibly in race reports. So that'll be kind of the catalyst all weekend long. And again, maybe we'll have walk-ups in this category as well. Maybe one wearing an EKN shirt or suit. We'll see.
You're bringing your stuff. I'm not bringing my stuff. I got to go straight to mid-Ohio after this event for the Road to Indy. So I'm not packing my stuff all over the place. But I will say this: I had my other helmet. It was sitting in the Rawlson Performance Group trailer, so I'll have a helmet at least. We'll see.
All you need to bring is a suit, Rob.
That's true.
Yeah. I can take it wherever you need it to go.
That's true. Well, maybe
we could go. Maybe we can swap. I know I have long legs, but I can sit in any cart. Maybe you race. Maybe you qualify it, and I'll race it. I don't know. We'll figure something out.
Now we're talking. Yeah, I have a 29-inch inseam. My legs go straight out. They don't bend when I race karts. I look like AJ. I look like AJ Allmendinger in a go kart.
I could look like old school karting with the knees above the steering wheel.
Yeah. Knees in the breeze, buddy. Knees in the breeze.
Oh, yeah.
All right, folks. One more break of the action. We get back. We'll just give you a quick little look at the Mini Swift and Micro Swift classes, 4 each for this coming weekend's California ROK Championship.
Are you ready to go from karts to cars? Since 1975, the Skip Barber Racing School has taken great drivers and made them champions. Today, we're proud to welcome the next generation of winners. Make the transition from karts to cars with the Skip Barber Formula Race Series. You'll compete at the most iconic tracks in America. Race weekends include your very own equalized Formula 4 race car, a professional crew, expert instruction, video and data analysis, hospitality, and more. This is the place to fulfill your dream of becoming a champion. Sign up today by calling 866-932-1949 or visit us at skipbarber.com.
Winning takes top quality equipment, flawless preparation, experienced coaching, and passion. And at Team GFC, we live our passion. Developed by American karting champion Gary Carlton, the GFC chassis has become one of the newest brands to reach the top of the podium in North America. GFC has garnered victories and championships at all levels of the sport since its debut at the end of 2018. Shifter car drivers are at the front of the field in the GT14 frame, with the SS31 a consistent contender in tag and 100cc competition. Team GFC has arrive and drive packages available for all categories, including the mini and micro classes utilizing the GFC RR5 cadet chassis. These young pilots have the opportunity to be part of the Team GFC Young Driver Development Program. Learn from one of the best American karters with 28 years racing at the highest levels of the sport, offering personalized training on and off the track. Follow GFC Karting on Facebook and Instagram, or click over to gfckarting.com to learn more about joining Team GFC. GFC, live your passion. Welcome back. We'll cap things up with episode number 40 of our EKN OutLap series. Again, this is our preview podcast for an event part of the EKN Trackside live program. And myself, Rob Howden, and David Cole will be trackside at Pat's Acres Racing Complex. I think it's been about 5 years or more since I've been there. David has never been to this iconic facility, so I can't wait for him to drive up Arndt Road and roll into the racetrack and get a feel for what this place is like. Just one of the most iconic tracks in the sport. Again, built back in 1965. David, let's have a look at the Mini Swift and Micro Swift categories. 4 drivers in each. Ideally, we'll get a couple more walk-ups. But again, looking at the drivers that we have, there's some guys that, both in Mini and Micro who have done well, both in the offseason and throughout the 2022 season as well.
Yeah, the name in Mini ROK that kind of stands out, Jackson Gibson. We've seen him kind of elevate himself in the micro category across the country under the Rawlson Performance Group tent. So this will actually, I think, be his mini debut as he continues to race micro across the country. But, with this one-off event, it allows that kind of, opportunity to get a taste for that next level. And Jackson Gibson is going to be in the mini ROK category. So again, good, we're seeing good results out of him at the national level, both USPKS and Supercarts USA Pro Tour. So we'll see how he stacks up this weekend, making that jump up.
Yeah, we'll see Axel Bodish and Jack Bodish in the mini rock category as well. Austin Elliott bringing a number of drivers up from California with his Speed Sense Motorsports crew. Eric Doan running in the mini Swift category. And David, the driver who was so impressive at the Challenge of the Americas in Micro Rock back through January, February, and March, Kason Hodge, I think will be the driver to beat for sure, at least out of the gate in Micro.
Yeah, Kason was able to score, I think 5 straight victories to begin the challenge this past year in the Micro Rock division. Won 5 of the 6 so went 4 straight, lost the 5th round, but ended up winning in round 6. And did really well racing with the mini drivers at that time as well, too, because they kind of had the mini and micros mixed in together. And so did fairly well this past winter. We'll see making that run up to Pat's Acres, how he adjusts to a track like that compared to what we saw at the Challenge of the Americas.
Yeah, all told, looking for some great racing in the cadet categories. Jackson Benham and Maximilian de Guzman involved as well. We'll see if we get some more walk-ups, as we said. But bottom line is, David, we got some pretty good, cool categories to watch. The one thing about a track like this, you don't need 40 karts for it to look good, right? It's 0.7 of a mile. It's a tight racetrack. The 17 karts is going to be big. I'd love to see, Rock Shifter get up over to 10, maybe 12, 15. I'd love to see some walk-ups here. But the bottom line is we're going to have some great racing. Everybody's there to have a good time. And we're just looking forward to getting back to the racetrack and having some fun for sure.
Yeah, anytime we're with Seisman and the Challenge crew, it's a good time both on and off the racetrack. Again, we're going to see some competitive racing all weekend long. And again, a different format than we're used to, and still waiting to hear what Andy's going to come up with. So that'll be fun to see. And again, it's just going to be a fun-filled weekend for all that's involved this weekend.
Our focus is to leverage essentially all of our platforms. We talked about doing a tent talk potentially with the Rawlson Performance Group up there as well. So that'll be on YouTube. We'll, of course, be on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We'll have a big Instagram story. We'll be doing our 1 minute flat morning shows. We may even do some live debrief shows as well if you want to tune into that. There's a lot of stuff we're going to do. You can follow us on all our social media platforms. The hashtags that we'll use will be hashtag EKN at CRC for the California Rock Championship, hashtag Let's Rock, and hashtag Park. Pat's Acres Racing Complex, the Park, as they call it, is going to, again, play host this coming weekend. Looking forward to seeing the Eggers. Looking forward to getting trackside. It'll be a different weekend for us, as we said, David. We're staying in a rental trailer. Went on Outdoorsy, rented a trailer. It looks like a good one. And hopefully you don't snore all night long because, again, like you said, you and I I don't think we've stayed in a trailer before.
Come on. I mean, it's no different. We'll probably be further apart than we are at a hotel room.
That's
so,
true.
We don't sleep in the same bed, but they're next to each other. So at least we'll have our own little cubbies to be able to sleep. And, I can be on my phone without, listening to you snore.
I know what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah. You have no idea what you're doing. Yeah. Right.
Big thank you to DID Chain, again, our presenting sponsor for this edition of the EKN OutLap, episode number 40, as I had said. Again, it's time to head west, Pacific Northwest to be exact. David Cole and I. David, let's put it this way. People think we're living the dream, right? And we do. We have fantastic jobs. So I love what we do. We're in the sport. You and I are both lamenting the fact, though, that we're getting up at 3:30 in the morning on Thursday morning to try to get to the airport. My flight's at 7 o'clock. I need to be there by 5, which means I need to leave my house at 4. I'm up at 3:30. It's going to be a long, long day.
Yeah, I think a lot of that's just the way the airline booking procedures are going right now.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
we're trying to get out there decently early, too. That's the key, right?
Yeah, but unfortunately, there's just not a lot of flight availabilities, and flights are very expensive right now. So that's kind of the heartache of the travel that we're doing. But excited to get out there and get trackside. Yeah,
we'll get going. We'll probably have some social media rolling right around after the maybe 1-2 o'clock hour when we get there to the track on Thursday afternoon. Of course, we'll be trackside super early in the morning, ready to roll everything out on Friday during practice and testing. And of course, once the schedule does get confirmed, we'll let you know when we're going to go wheel-to-wheel racing. Looking forward to the weekend up at Pat's Acres Racing Complex. We do appreciate you tuning in to this edition of the OutLap. We'll be recording our debrief podcast, the race report, on the Tuesday following the event. So look for that that to come next week as well. But again, live coverage, EKN Trackside Live, play-by-play all weekend long, race reporting, social media coverage, probably a tent tuck in there as well, and maybe even a short little late night live debrief on Facebook. We do appreciate tuning in, listening to the EKN Radio Network. If you have not yet downloaded the EKN Radio Network app for your mobile device, get that done. Best way to tune into all of our broadcasts. And now, new for 2022, we're actually streaming our live coverage through the EKN Radio Network app as well. You don't have to go to Mixler if you don't want to, or the EKN Live page. We're doing it right through the EKN app. So wherever you are, live coverage. And again, this weekend, the California ROK Championship. On behalf of everybody here, including David Cole, my name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.